Hi, not a question, statement this time. Going to talk about beans, going to talk about soup, but I'm not going to talk about necessarily bean soup. Back in a few. Hi, this is Jan from New York City. My channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. How's everybody doing today? Hope as always that this video finds everybody doing well. If you're brand new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a veteran viewer here, sincere and humble, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're just dropping by to say hello, say hello. Hope you come back one day and stick around. Thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. Going to talk about soup for a second. Soup is a great budget stretcher. It is good for the soul. Perfect on those brisk, chilly days, especially. And yet, you could still enjoy soup even in the summer. A chilled soup, a gazpacho soup, for example, or a fruit soup, which is a very refreshing thing. We could talk about that in the warmer months to come. But right now, I'm going to focus our attention on why I emphasize the idea of soups. You know, I was sitting in my little stockpile room the other day, and I was looking at my little cute stockpile, which is growing. And I was saying to myself, you know, you have a lot of canned soup. We all know what a basic can of soup looks like. And yes, it is perfect to have them put away for such times when needed. But it occurred to me that we could, quote, end of quote, think of soup, our own soup, as something to be manufactured. For example, many people wish to lower their sodium intake. And unfortunately, many canned products do contain a considerable amount of sodium. It does really pay to read the backs of the labels. Even if you don't have any sort of medical issues at all and you just prefer, for whatever the reason, the taste of less sodium, salty taste to your product, this is something that you can do and can easily control if you, quote, end of quote, manufacture your own soup. I was thinking of something. For example, let's say that you wanted to manufacture or cook, prepare your own soup. I was looking at that stockpile and looking at the cans and thinking, what if I took 10 cans measurement, take a can, an empty soup can, for example, and fill it up with the water, add it up. Say you wanted to have 10 on reserve, for example. Look at it that way. Fill up your soup pot if you're going to start your own soup and think of it in that manner. And just imagine you can control the sodium level in it. If you like the idea of the good things that tomatoes bring to your soup and you don't necessarily wish to use a can of tomato, who's to stop you from taking some fresh tomatoes from the grocery store and adding that? There are some salt substitute flavored things like Mrs. Dash, for example, that just season things up. I'm just saying, I'm not sponsoring that thing, but let's think of it that way. So especially for people who want to control certain things in their soup. Now, I had another thought. If you have time, and it's a very easy thing to do, and if you have a nice, good old slow cooker, who's to stop you from manufacturing, if you will, a big old crock pot full of your own basic vegetable soup, for example? Why do I say vegetable? Well, you could do one of two things. For the family in your family that enjoys vegetable soup, not containing meat, or vegan people, you know, certain things like that, what you could do is make a basic pot of soup that way, just vegetables, for example, and hold that on the side using a vegetable base broth or a vegetable 1, not 10, bouillon cubes if you're trying to control the salt sodium aspect of it. Prepare that. That will be your basic canvas for future other soups. What do I mean by that? If you make a ton of those, reserve half for the family that enjoys no meat or chicken in their soup. And this is real life, and some people do not want that stuff in it. However, you can take the other half of the prepared vegetable soup, and when you're doing your freezing process, you could add your cooked protein that you enjoy, such as meat or chicken, etc., and so on and so forth. Some people like only rice in their soup. instead of the meat. So work within your family's parameter. But here's the basic idea. You're making a huge pot of soup with a vegetable base. This is something, let's say, your whole family agrees on. Then you're extracting half of that, and then you have your own add-ins. And this is where batch cooking comes in handy. Now let's think about this for a second. Let's say you prepare 10 plastic containers that you're going to freeze. You just created on the cheap a whole lot of cans of soup. And I heard a rumor that certain soups are going to be on the rise for sure in the month of January, which is what we're in now. Hopefully not, but I say possibly yes. And even if it wasn't on the rise, why can't you be ahead of the game? Taking your favorite vegetables, and don't forget to look in your vegetable crisper to see if some vegetables are on their way out, and get this thing rolling. We have plenty of brisk chilly days ahead, at least in this area. How about by you? You may consider manufacturing instead of purchasing in cans, making your own low sodium, low salt, or plenty of vegetable or vegetables with meat, protein, or chicken soup. There you go. This idea came into my head. I said I absolutely have to share this tip and trick. And while I'm at it, I'm going to give you a sample of a future video, which will be called Guaranteed Money Saving Tricks at the Grocery Store. That's a future video. And one of them is buy multiple use food items. I'm not going to get heavily into it now, but this is a mistake that I believe a lot of people do. For example, they buy one small paltry looking steak because they're in the mood of steak. Unless you're doing two things with it, more than likely, if you're buying a personal size steak, it's probably up there in price. It could be, not saying necessarily, but probably is. And you got the one use out of it. Well, that's nice for that moment, but are you saving money there? I don't think so. But what you could do with that same steak, of course, is cut a little portion out and then make rice or noodles or vegetables and rice or noodles and vegetables the star of the show, and the meat the second person up. Hey, we're all looking for ways to save. And I think these days, I really think that it will be very, very helpful. I'm looking for your input here. Let me know if and how you tailor make your soup to your family's likings. Do you do things, for example, like batch cooking? Batch cookers unite. I think there's something to be said about it. And making a whole bunch of low sodium soup is a ticket. Just saying, just saying. In the meantime, this has been Jan from New York City. Thank you very much for viewing. Why? Because I really do appreciate who? You. Don't forget to come back in the future. I'm going to find my outro. I'll give you a wave. Be right back. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care now. Bye-bye.